Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Full Potential Show. I'm James Rick, and this is your number one non-boring source for personal development. And today on the line, we have Michelle Cederberg. She's a certified speaking professional, life coach, and author of, get this, If Your Life Sucks, It's Your Own Fault. It's your fault. I added own in there, to own it. Anyone who wants to kick past complacency in some aspect of their life, today's show is for you. We're going to talk about how to kick past complacency in health, in money, in work, in relationships, quit with the excuses that might be holding you back, and shift toward a healthier, happier, more fulfilled life. Michelle, so glad to have you on today's Full Potential Show and help people live their full potential by taking personal responsibility.
Really happy to be here.
Really
Thanks.
happy to have you. What we want to dive into is how to know when you're letting your excuses suck up your success. You cannot move your life in the direction that you want to go unless you take personal responsibility, right? I mean, that's what the core is here. And how this ties in with the bigger picture is everything we talk about, you have to take action on. And you can't take the action if you're full of excuses or you feel weak to empower and take control of your life. So I want to first go to the start of your taking charge of your life. I mean, have you always been like this? Did you deliver yourself as a baby? Or
yeah, that's funny, Rick. Well, and I wrote this book definitely out of having been down the road of making excuses and finding reasons to blame other people, other circumstances, the world out there for everything that wasn't going well in my life. So my life sucked. That's the truth. And it was an awareness that I had sometime in the early millennium, 2001, where I realized that I was the common denominator in every aspect of my life that sucked. So
you make it sound like a really long time ago. In the early millennium.
In the early millennium.
Now that we're 1,000 years old, back.
Yeah. Back when I was in my early 30s. Well, but the big realization for me was that I was making the same mistakes over and over again. I was pointing my finger out there saying it's his fault, it's their fault, and I wasn't taking responsibility. So it was a big wake-up call when I realized I had more control over the stuff that sucked than I was giving myself credit for.
Would you agree, or give me your observation on this, that a lot of the reason why somebody doesn't want to take personal responsibility is because of A, what that will mean, that in terms of change and doing what they're uncomfortable with, and B, what it also might mean in terms of who they are. Like the ego resists the idea that they're responsible for the results that they have. It's easier to shift that to somebody else because that way it's almost like you get to live out the illusion of I'm great, I'm important, and the only reason why not everybody sees that is it's this fault and over here and these things didn't happen. I don't have to take responsibility for the results that I'm getting, even though I'm unhappy with them.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to sit with the devil that we know. And I put it that way because change is hard for most people. And it's a lot easier for us to sit in that comfortable spot and not acknowledge that some of the challenges are our fault. So I can point out and say, it's my boss's fault I can't exercise. It's my ex's fault I'm single. He was a jerk. It's the economy's fault that I have no money. And you can keep in that cycle and keep blaming and get nowhere.
Because we always do things, even subconsciously, that offer some kind of payoff. So the payoff here is that I can sit with what I know and I don't have to do something uncomfortable. By blaming
or I don't have to do the hard work, right?
Okay,
Rick?
and I don't have to put in the effort. Okay,
yeah,
so two things. I get to be comfortable, and I don't have to take effort.
Pretty simple.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so now we recognize that, but the only way that the things are going to change, the only way the experience is going to get better is if you start taking personal responsibility, because when you blame others, you are in powerlessness. But when you take responsibility for the results, you now can take responsibility for your own life and the results you're going to get going forward.
Absolutely true. And who would you rather have in the driver's seat? Yourself or unknowns in the universe? It really comes down to paying attention to how you're talking to yourself and really striving for accurate thinking. To be able to be honest with yourself when you're selling yourself a bill of goods, and to be able to square your shoulders and say, you know what, I need to do more work.
Okay, so the first point that I'm hearing is to own up to it, to observe it clearly and say, I am where I am because of the things that I've done in response to even all the things that maybe people around me have done. Yeah, there's like some pretty messed up things that can happen in this world, but ultimately I own my response and I'm going to acknowledge that. Number one, right?
Number one.
Okay, so I'm going to acknowledge that I always own my response to everything that happens in my world and my environment, and that to a great degree that determines my results. So now I'm in the driver's seat.
Woohoo!
Woo, yeah, that's a big shift, right? So just that alone, boom, I'm in the driver's seat. Then where am I driving and how am I driving?
Well, I think sometimes we need a little perspective shift because we can tend to focus on the negative. And so, when I realized, okay, I am the common denominator in every aspect of my life that sucks, I don't feel so good. But if I could switch it to, oh my gosh, I am the common denominator in every aspect of my life that rocks too. And there's more of that stuff going on. So it really is then about sitting where you are and asking yourself, what kind of a life do I want to be living? If I want to have better health, no more excuses, do what it takes. If I want to improve my finances, get the help that I need. If I want a better relationship, look in the mirror. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so now that, to go along with the metaphor, now that I'm in the driver's seat, where do I want to go? What is my destination in my health? What is my destination in my relationships? Now I want to get some clarity of where I'm driving to.
Absolutely. In the If Your Life Sucks, It's Your Fault book, there's a Wheel of Life exercise that helps people get clear on where they are in the different areas of their life. And that's sometimes a good starting point because we forget or we put it aside or we block it off and instead of really kind of digging in and doing a little bit of work on it.
Yeah.
Picking the areas
it's really, it's also the difference between getting mired in the details and zooming out and looking holistically at life in all the different areas that are important to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And once you've decided, I just say take a step. But a lot of it is about changing the mindset, right? Deciding that change is possible and deciding that you're worth it and stepping in, if you will.
Okay, so you've got to believe in that possibility that you can even move towards those things. And then you're going to take a step. Because, you won't even take the step if you're like, oh, it's beautiful over there. I mean, everything looks so wonderful. The people are so happy, and I would be so happy. But it's not reachable for me. You won't even take the action. So you're saying you're going to acknowledge you're in the driver's seat. You're going to get clear on where you want to go, and then you have to believe that you can go there. And then you start taking the first step.
Right, and I kind of outline it in the book as change your circumstances, change your attitude, change your life. And a lot of the times we have to get over the idea that change isn't possible. And sometimes if change isn't possible in something that's happening around you, then it's about changing your attitude. It's like, well, I can either suffer, and this really is fun, or I can do anything I can to feel better about it.
Okay. An important point I want to emphasize. So there are some circumstances you cannot change. Like if you have lost your legs, I mean, it's possible that at some point you can regain that, you can get prosthetics, you can respond to the situation the most empowering way, but ultimately, what can you change about the situation? What are you in power to change? So you always have that responsibility in some aspect. And you're saying it could be your circumstance, or it could just be your attitude towards the circumstance.
And I have 3 different ways of changing your circumstances. Change something in the way that you do. In some instances, I say walk away. Sometimes it's not worth it to stay in a difficult situation or a difficult job or a toxic relationship. And then I say increase your resilience against whatever it is that's challenging you. We've got choices. But like you said, if you've lost your legs or if you're in a financial position where you can't possibly leave your job, then there's circumstances that are beyond your control. That's when you square your shoulders and say, now what? Try and find
how can I at least adjust my attitude to enjoy the experience more as I move towards, in maybe a longer term view, where I want to go? Like maybe the road's going to be a little longer to get there, but ultimately I know I want to be here.
Yeah, and I will say that some people have bigger mountains to climb than others, but it doesn't mean that it's not worth climbing. That's what it comes down to. I joke around in some of my presentations that, we have a choice to suffer in silence, to do something about it. Those are our 2 choices, but most of the time people will choose the unfavorable third option of complaining and doing nothing. And that's not fun.
No, it's not enjoyable. All right, so we've got acknowledge you're in the driver's seat, get clear on what kind of life you want to live, decide that that change is possible, adjust either your circumstances or your attitude to those circumstances, which obviously attitude adjustment's the easiest, but then your circumstances will follow. And then where do we go from there? Like, I mean, this is already a powerful set of instructions to really take responsibility and start changing our lives. Are there some more steps, or is this the process?
It's a simple process. I think that it's something that we need to be aware of all the time. Once you step into a higher level of living, a life that's more fulfilled, once you step into your full potential, the challenges change, don't they?
Ooh, you use that buzzword, yeah, full potential.
But that's the reason why I so much wanted to talk to you about this, because if you're sitting in the mire, if you're suffering, then you're so far from being able to step into potential of any kind, let alone your full potential.
You are right on, my dear, and it's about being in a resourceful state. I say that fear, anger, frustration, these are all distorting forces that actually fragment your energy and your potential, your capability to take action. And when you start taking responsibility and you start moving out of the distorting forces and you're at least in a state of resourcefulness, even if your situation hasn't changed, you're now in a position to take more empowered action.
Oh, and man, is it ever powerful.
It really is. When
yes.
You're not in fear, when you're not in those distorting emotions, we really are. I mean, we are really powerful when we have clarity and we're not in distorting forces of emotion and things that fragment our energy. We really can move our life and move forward very quickly.
Which really gets me excited. I want people to embrace the idea of creating a life that rocks and quit focusing on the bad stuff and take control. It's when we're spending so much time being unhappy or focusing on what's not working, then the energy gets sucked towards that. And success requires energy outward, and that's what this is all about.
It's
realign.
If your life is sucking right now and you have this formula and you don't take action on it and you don't take responsibility, that it is, to a great degree, it is your fault. Where can people pick up this free gift that we have if they're procrastinating and they're not taking actions on the things that they now can own up to and know that they have responsibility to improve or change? 5 steps to pushing past procrastination. I know this is a free gift that you're offering audience members now. Where can they go to get this?
They can go onto my website at worklifeenergy.com, and you sign up for my weekly email Easpiration. It's a quick quote and thought that I send out, and I will send you 5 ways to put off procrastinating.
Cool. That's a weekly Easpiration. I like that. A weekly Easpiration. And you'll get the 5 steps of pushing past procrastination. And your book, If Your Life Sucks, It's Your Fault. Where can they get it?
They can get it at the same place. They can go to worklifeenergy.com. You can also check out ifyourlifesucks.com, because I'd rather that your life rocks.
Okay.
Just saying.
What's that?
Just saying.
Just say, I want your life to rock? Or...
Yeah. I'm just saying that I want your life to rock. So go check out ifyourlifesucks.com.
Yeah, okay. So if your life sucks right now and you want your life to rock, go to ifyourlifesucks.com. Also, the book can be found at worklifeenergy.com. The free gifts when you sign up for the weekly newsletter, 5 steps to pushing past procrastination. Any final thoughts, Michelle, before we wrap up? Anything you want people to leave with aside from taking those actions that you want them to either remember or to take action on?
Yes. When we're stepping into change, it can be overwhelming. And so people will sit in contemplation for far too long. We don't have to have the results the moment we step out. We just need to step out. And once you do, amazing things start to happen, partly because you're honoring yourself and partly because you're finally doing stuff that you've been putting off for a while. So I say take care of yourself heading into 2012 and make it your best yet.
Amen, sister. And one thing that I want to make clear too is that this is an emotional shift. Like what we're talking about right now, it's logical, it might make sense or whatever, but you have to own it. Like you have to step into the emotion of you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel some fear. And some of the old conditioned patterns of blaming others, if that was your strategy for not changing, those will still be wanting to run, right? Michelle? Those old patterns we want to run?
I call them default behaviors.
Default, I love it. Default behaviors. So they're still going to want to run even when you're making the shift. You have to own it emotionally to move past that and recondition and make new default behaviors. I love it. Yeah, that's the key, right? Own the shift emotionally and then keep moving when those old default behaviors try to get in the way, and then eventually you'll condition new default behaviors.
You are stronger and more capable than you think.
Amen. Michelle Cederberg, If Your Life Sucks, It's Your Fault. The book is found at worklifeenergy.com. And I know there's a Kindle version on Amazon as well, right, Michelle?
There is a Kindle version on Amazon as well for all you ebook readers.
That is me, and I will get the Kindle version. All right, that's worklifeenergy.com. Michelle, thank you so much for being on today's show and helping us to take responsibility for our lives. This is something.
Thanks so much, James.
This is something that if you are not in that place of taking responsibility, nothing's going to shift. So, and you know what's cool, Michelle? I think most of the people that are watching are taking responsibility for their life. That's why they watch these shows, and that's why they tune in and listen. But if there's some aspect of their life that they're stuck in, I think this is really going to help them. So I thank you for sharing your insights, and I encourage everybody to check out your website.
Thank you for having me on the show, James.
It was great having you on, Michelle. And everybody watching and listening right now, be sure and check out our website. And be sure and like and subscribe to Full Potential Show so you can get more great insights from people like Michelle and freebies that you only find where? Right here on the Full Potential Show. Thanks, Michelle. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Well, that concludes this week's episode of the Full Potential Show, your #1 non-boring source for personal development. I'm James Rick, and if you want to get more positive programming for your brain absolutely free on a weekly basis, just visit fullpotential.com.
If you like the Full Potential Show, you're going to love the Full Potential Club. What would you like most as a Full Potential Club member? Be 2 to 3 times more productive? Do what you're passionate about? Have more energy? Reduce your work hours? Travel the world? Enjoy an amazing lifestyle on a frugal budget? What if you could do them all? James Rick has been there and done it in ways that few people have. For anyone serious about taking their life or business to the next level, you know you've got to do more than just watch. You've got to do. Join James Rick and other like-minded people for an incredible $10 a month at fullpotential.com/club. Be educated. Be empowered. Be the best version of you. fullpotential.com/club. Try it free for 30 days.